Hey guys, new merch up in the store right now. It's the Angry Army AngryJoe shirt this month of June. And then we're going to have a Joe shirt and we're going to have an Alex shirt in the following months. Just another way to directly support our show and an independent artist over there at Rogues Apparel right now. Click the links down below. If you like seeing these type of content, it keeps us going. And yes, so hopefully you enjoy the review. Check it out. We have guest star Mittens here on episode 7, the penultimate episode of The Boys. Mitten watch it, Mitten like it very much. And it was fantastic and an awesome season so far. Now, obviously, the last episode, Herogasm, was a 10 out of 10. So this one had quite a bit to follow up. And it goes down a little slightly, but it does set up the ultimate climax that's coming, and it's on its way here. Plus, we get a little bit of a big reveal towards the end. This one focuses mainly on, I'd say, Butcher. We get the continuation of Soldier Boy and his vengeance. And then we get a little bit of Noir, who has been kind of absent most of the season, so he's being put into play here. And I appreciated it and thought it was fascinating and very creative what they do with that particular subplot. Two subplots that not really working for me again. The Deep, and I'm wondering where A-Train is going. It's getting a little bit more interesting with A-Train now, a little more complex, but the Deep is just not working, man. It's going to his window so he can watch TV, some more TV. Anyways, Alex, what did you think of the episode?
I mean, this episode's great because The Boys is great. This isn't. It's hard because like we've had some really amazing episodes so far this season, and this isn't as high as some of them, but like really important stuff happens here. So like they're setting a lot of things up. This is an episode with, I'd say, too many little storylines going on at once, because there was a lot of times that I was a little disappointed that we switched away, you know, not from some of the important things that are happening, and we didn't move over to anything that was, you know, that felt important or impactful. And so it's like,
okay.
So it's I don't give a shit about Deep's cult wife and their reluctance to have,
right? That's
you know, a fisherman's wife remake in their bed. Like I don't it's not where we're at the point now where we're talking about evil Captain America fighting evil Superman, and the main characters may be on their deathbed and they don't know about it. There's important things happening. I don't give a fuck about him trying to have sex with an octopus right now. Yeah, and this is funny stuff.
And they kept doing it. Like, I got the joke, like, the first time you did it. We've done it, like, 3 or 4 times now this season. So I think that the Deep is probably the only, you know, side plot that I'm like, all right, let's get going here. Hopefully this goes somewhere interesting. Now, obviously, his wife leaves him in that moment. So now the Deep is on his own again, and he's going to reach out for validation, potentially either with Homelander, and Homelander's going to dismiss him, and then maybe this is where he turns to the boys. I don't know.
I want them to be setting something up. We're not at the point where they've set anything up with the Deep that's interesting, which makes me worry because we got 1 episode left. Very excited for it.
Single episode.
If there's 1 episode left and we go into the whole Deep sideline where he's looking for validation, that's not what I want in the final episode. The final episode should be all of these strands that they've set out coming together really nicely. We get the conflict that we want and set up, you know, stuff to come. So it sounds like I'm down on the episode, not down, because even the worst episode of The Boys has been really, really good TV. So still liking the stuff that I'm watching. It's just comparatively, the bar is set really high because they've made some really amazing television, especially this season. The writing has been particularly good in a lot of episodes this season. So it's just, by comparison, it's not disappointing. It's just not, you know, it's not as good.
Yeah, this one wasn't the worst one for me. Episode 5 was the worst one for me. That's where sort of Soldier Boy kind of returns to the city, and then we get, like, I don't know, was that the musical number with Kamiko and things like that. But it's still solid television for me, and I think this season is particularly awesome. And let's jump into the actual episode. Now, hold on. Before I do that, I do want to say I was a little disappointed. Another disappointment is Homelander. right? He doesn't get a whole lot. He just went through basically the beating of his life and bruised and his ego. So I was expecting a little bit more on that front. Instead, we get something with Maeve. So we finally see Maeve is, in fact, not dead. By this point in the comics, I'll save it for later. So he in Homelander here is doing some fucked up shit. I guess he's telling her he's gonna fertilize her eggs or
Harvest
something
her eggs and
without her
baby.
permission.
Yeah.
Maybe create another Homelander baby. That's gonna be, and that could then lead to what we've seen in the comics, a pretty fucked up thing in the comics. But they're doing it slightly a different angle here with Maeve. So hopefully that comes to fruition. I don't know if maybe in the final episode she gets rescued by Starlight. We know Starlight's objective is to get at Maeve or save Maeve or at least figure out what her status is. So we'll probably get a little bit of that in the final episode. But okay, so other than that, I think a solid episode that, and I'm really anticipating the conclusion. So let's go to final verdicts on this one, and then we'll do a deep dive.
For me, this is going to be a 7, and that it sounds super harsh compared to all of the other TV that we're watching. But again, the bar is set high for the boys.
This is the boys 7.
This is a boys 7, which is like the normal TV 8 or 9.
10.
So it's like, for us, average is 5, above average. This is a good episode. It sets up some stuff. I think that there was a lot of things going on because they're trying to bring everything back together. But every time we change from the storylines that have really great momentum, really interesting thing happens, and then is mad at the Todd because he's misinformed. He's reading Facebook
There's a
posts.
little bit too many subplots.
And then
that
the deep is having a thing with his cult wife and whether or not she will have sex with an octopus or not. Like there's things that are working really, really well, and then things that are working less well that I'm not interested at this point. Now, I'm not saying they can't wrap up into something amazing right now, but if we look at this episode independently in a vacuum, I think that this is just a good episode of The Boys.
Yeah, that's exactly where I'm at as well. I think it's a 7 out of 10. Probably the right above the worst episode so far. But it definitely serves as setup, and hopefully we're going to have a satisfying conclusion. Episode 8 is our last, The Instant White Hot Wild, which has the potential to be derailed by the final reveal that comes. We'll talk about that first here in the Cliff Notes version. So Homelander is called up by Soldier Boy and Soldier Boy reveals what he learned from Mindstorm before killing him, which is what?
No, I am your father.
Hey, Luke. So they used Soldier Boy's DNA to essentially create Homelander, which makes Soldier Boy kind of a biological father in donor. And so this potential Homelander and Soldier Boy team up may happen or may derail this climax in some way. We do get Homelander's motivation here, harvesting Maeve's eggs, kind of taunting her, then forming a very dark alliance with Newman, the lady that can pop heads. Not really sure how that's going to factor in and where that's going.
What was the paper? We need to know what's on the paper.
Yeah, exactly. He's still trying to hang in there, trying to maintain his cool. So he's drinking some milk. Kind of throwback to season 1, mother's milk kind of thing. And it's going to be interesting to see how that comes to fruition. In the comics, there was a kind of a political storyline that was a subplot that was running, which then comes to a head, in the climax. And I'm curious if that's what they're doing with this character. He's like, yeah, all right, yeah. Support this guy. He doesn't even really fucking, know this guy very much. So it's like, are they, ushering that political figure in on behalf of Vought, and then that will plug into the comic storyline, or are we going to get that further down in some subsequent seasons? So, jumping into the deep dive here, little clip notes. Noir is revealed to have sold out Soldier Boy through animated characters. So, like a Chunky Cheese kind of something beaver. And I'm wondering if this was the animated team behind Diabolical, because if, as you know, there was a spin-off animated series for the boys that was in animation. I thought this was a bold choice. Ultimately, I'm like, I don't know what is going on here. But ultimately, I liked it. I thought it worked, especially since Black Noir can't really speak. He's kind of dealing with his trauma, and these cartoon characters essentially do a little curtain call, do a little stage play of what actually went down back there in Nicaragua. And it turns out that Soldier Boy has been abusing Black Noir for quite a while. Doesn't want him to be starring in Beverly Hills Cop. That role went to Eddie Murphy, but it could have been.
Shouldn't have been.
Noir.
Can't place Eddie Murphy.
Because he doesn't want to be shown up. Soldier Boy. He's essentially like Homelander. He's got them Homelander father tendencies, right? And essentially these cartoon characters then help him with his trauma and
Big exposition dumps.
Yeah.
I think that this was less successful than the mere Homelander that we got. That that really clever. Well,
yeah.
we've seen that before,
Good.
and they can't do the same thing again. I think that's what I would have preferred, right? Like unscarred. Him having visions of himself and him having showing some sort of trauma, but they can't do the same thing again. So I think that they went the animated route, and I think it was less successful. It wasn't bad. It's like that's what this episode is. It's not bad. It's just less successful than things that they've done really recently.
Does kind of come out of left field, like the dance sequence.
Yeah.
So, what does he learn ultimately? The conclusion of it.
That the team, well, he lost chunks of his brain, and that's probably he sees cartoon characters, and he got his ass beat.
But it does seem like it's a culmination of him confronting Soldier Boy.
Yeah, he had gotten beat
up.
up.
I believe the point of this is that Black Noir may end up being the one that kills or takes out Soldier Boy. Maybe.
Yeah. Only because Edgar told him to, and he's like, don't eat almonds, and he's like, no, I'm going to eat almonds, because he's a dick.
So A-Train is successfully revived with a heart from Blue Hawk. And they are going to blame Starlight, I believe, right?
Well, they're going to blame the Soldier Boy on the attack. She's like, you need to talk shit about Starlight. And he's like, yeah, fine, I'm going to do that. But it's like, Soldier Boy attacked
that's
you.
right. That's true.
And, and then he murdered
so
all these
they're kind of
things.
hanging Soldier Boy out to dry then.
Yeah.
I thought because initially they were going to protect him along with Homelander, but it looks like Vought is now can't control Soldier Boy, so they're just whatever. Let's blame it on Soldier Boy. So A-Train, now with a heart from, a guy that he hated, is this going to change his outlook? Is he going to finally join the resistance? Do we even care at this point? A-Train's just a piece of shit, and I don't give a fuck, and I want him to. Now he can run really fast. He can use his powers without. So we kind of wrapped that up. It's like, all right, well, A-Train hasn't been able to use his powers, and he's useless. Now he's no longer useless.
Yeah, I like that he's no longer useless. It makes me think it's just like, wait a minute, you're telling me that someone on the 7, they couldn't have harvested a heart from like a lesser hero and just fixed him up immediately, because they would have immediately, if that was possible, they would have done it. But this is a storyline that it's like, where is it going? Like, I like that he can do these things, and they're trying to put him in all these like really shitty. They're like, you're gonna be a coke dealing guy who can run in the ghetto, and Tom Hanks is gonna save you. And you can tell it's like, this is a really racist premise, motherfucker. Like,
now
this
they're going
sucks,
full on.
and now they're going real into it, which can try to like drive a further wedge between him and the team. But this is like episode 2 stuff. This is not episode like the second to last episode stuff, in my opinion. Like, I don't need to see this here.
It seems like we're probably not going to get a resolution of A-Train. Otherwise, it would feel rushed in the 8th episode. Yeah. So this will be further season stuff. So Butcher, Huey, and Soldier Boy go on their mission to take out Mind Storm. And I was kind of counting all the people in Payback, and I'm like, fuck. So either Soldier Boy's going after Black Noir, or I forgot. Mindstorm is left. So we go over Mindstorm, hiding out in the forest, and Mindstorm kind of surprised Butcher and puts him in a nightmare of his abusive childhood, which is rather tragic. And it works. It's effective. I didn't like the coloring on it. I don't know if it was my projector or whatever. It didn't really look all that great, and the colors were off. But and to a certain extent, it's like, I think we spent a little bit too much time with Butcher's childhood. and taking away from some of the far more interesting stuff like Homelander and Soldier Boy and some of this other stuff because it's kind of a retread. We can infer a lot of this stuff. We've met his father before. We know about Lenny and Butcher's relationship with Lenny, protecting him, and how Lenny killed himself. And then he kind of sees Huey as Lenny, which is why he has a special relationship with Huey. It's good, and I like it when Carl Urban's given more opportunity to explore the depth of his character, but it feels a little unnecessary, a little too much.
Yeah, it was not tightly shown off. I think if we had seen more, I really love the powers. Like Mindstorm is a fascinating character, and it's sad that we got one episode and only one. Like if we could have cut Butcher's time in his own mind down by half, and then have someone else, where maybe he gets in Soldier Boy's mind and Huey has to save him too.
Yeah,
just kind of do.
Soldier Boy's a great actor too, so it would have been fascinating to see him do it.
And then the fucked up things where he doesn't know. He probably doesn't know it's fucked up. He's ignorant of all the things that he's done, and there could have been really interesting stuff there. And instead, that we got this. Yeah, like you said, a retread that kind of overstayed its welcome a little bit. Not bad, just it's not as good as some of the other stuff they've done.
In return, Huey wants to save Butcher, and fucking Soldier Boy has no goddamn loyalty. And in fact, Huey previously learned that Soldier Boy didn't really storm the beaches of Normandy. I had respect for the guy when he said that. It's, yeah, man, this motherfucker's racist, but he comes from an old time. That was all a lie. That was motherfucking lie. The legend said, nah, he didn't storm it. That's all. Yeah, he stormed it to take a picture. So Huey kind of calls him out here, and Soldier Boy it doesn't really faze him. He just punches him, says him, shut up. But he wants to abandon Butcher. He's like, man, he's fucking gone. And Huey makes a break from Soldier Boy here. As they are tracking down Mindstorm, about to corner him, Huey decides to use his teleportation powers to get him out of there. And then makes a deal with Mindstorm. And you feel the fucking fear in Mindstorm. It's like you feel for him. It's like, fuck, this guy, he is an unstoppable force coming after him. And you're like, come on, please, Huey, convince him to get Butcher out of this. And he manages to do it. And he revives Butcher, pulls him out of there. Hopefully, Butcher, I wonder if this will have an effect on Butcher in the next episode, or we'll have some ramifications for it. He'll be a softer Butcher. I don't know.
We had an opportunity immediately, and then he immediately does the worst possible thing. Like in the very next scene, we're like, oh, maybe he's learned. He's going to do all these things. He's like, nope.
That's right.
I'm going to do something that actually...
I forgot about that. I got that written there. That's probably the worst thing Butcher has ever done. So literally, you go and explore his trauma, and you think that, oh man, I'm not going to treat Huey bad because of Lenny, and he does something even worse. So it's like, what? Okay. Anyways, but Mindstorm gets killed anyway because Soldier Boy manages to throw a knife, slams into his head, and he just fucking takes his shield and starts whacking his head and busts his head in. But not before he whispers. He's trying to figure out, what's going on. Why'd you sell me out? All this other stuff. And Mindstorm tries to share some more information with him to not be killed, but he is killed anyway. And that's when we learn, Soldier Boy learns that he is the DNA donor and father of Homelander, who catches Starlight in the Seven's Tower, in which she is... sort of grabbing Compound V for Kamiko. We get a little bit of Frenchie and Kamiko, realizing that, she's always been this way and she's going to choose to have the powers rather than not choose, and that matters for her. And so she convinces Starlight to go get her the powers so her powers can return. And Homelander corners her and is just basically... threatening her, and smartly though, she is basically recording the entire conversation. And because at the beginning of the episode they address the previous shocking Starlight live stream with, oh, she's just a scornful woman and she broke up with Homelander, don't believe her. So again, fracturing the mass public. Some people believe Homelander, some people believe Starlight. I think they could have ramped that up a little bit so that we could see the effect, because we don't really see that. It seems like everybody just automatically believes a Vought. And because they're at later on a Trump rally, or shall I say Homelander rally. But yeah, so luckily she manages to record him basically confessing to all his crimes, and now that's out there too. So
He was
that's
running lines. Duh.
yeah. Oh, yeah. Are there gonna be motherfucking idiots out there that even believe that?
Yes.
Yes. But I think he's losing more and more support. The veil is being lifted in public more and more. And we're getting dangerously close to the that great scene when Homelander said, "You know what? Fine, release it because here's what I'm going to do. If I can't get them to love me this way, then I'm going to fuck it." So we're getting dangerously close to that. Frenchie then injects those powers to Kamiko. And then she says they're family. Is he friend zoned now?
No, but they're more than
But they're a
that.
level of
Yeah,
above kissing.
look.
They're you are my family, as
Yeah.
in a romantic or platonic.
They're yeah.
I guess romantic.
Family. When you're here, you're
Oh,
family.
yeah.
I think 10% of the scenes with Kamiko and Frenchie worked. The problem is we're just getting.
Yeah, this initiative to sort of explore each and every backstory of the boys' crew was well intentioned. Some are working better than others.
Yeah, like I said, I really like the scene where she's explaining to Annie. She's like, "Look, when I first got injected with V, it wasn't my choice. It felt like a prison. Now I'm choosing it." And it's like that's poignant
That
stuff.
works,
That works great. But the problem is there's so much other stuff, especially in this season, like that little payoff, that little message that that Frenchie read was not the payoff. Was not worth all of the stuff that we went through to get there. I think that we could have truncated that, got to that point earlier in the season.
And another one that's not quite working is Mother's Milk. MM knocks out Todd for attending a Homelander Trump rally and saying that he's an absent father. He loses his cool, punches Todd in front of his. Of course, his daughter comes out right before the moment he punches it. He's like, "God damn it, I feel ashamed again." Again, we are spinning our wheels a little bit. We are retreading some of the things that have already been revealed. He
Or
already
happened this
lost
season.
it in front of his daughter. He's
Twice.
already, like multiple times. Now it's the third time. It's like, all right, we get it. We get it. Now, but we did get a scene of his wife or ex-wife kind of agreeing with MMM. Is this going to drive a wedge between her and her new husband, creating thus an opening for MM to come back into the family? But then he immediately fucks it up by resorting
Well,
to
he's going to
violence
jail.
in front. Yeah, so we'll see.
You can't just.
I don't
fucking-
think he's going to jail.
he should. I mean, in real, look, in the boys, you don't go to jail, but in real, you can't just fucking knock a motherfucker out. You go to jail.
Yeah. Then Annie informs Butcher of the risks of temporary V because as she's collecting the compound V for Kamiko, she notices, oh shit, all these scientist notes are saying that between 3 to 5 doses is when your body falls apart and you fucking die.
Yeah.
And this adds a new dimension that we not had before because I'm like, well, how does temporary V differ from blue V? How does the green V differ from blue? Why doesn't everybody take temporary V? Well, the reason is because you fucking die if you take it too much. So she tells Butcher to tell Huey immediately. And then she's like, I'm going to call back every 5 minutes until you tell him. Which is, I like how the script addresses, like, you can't.
I know you're a piece of shit.
Yeah, just tell him, and I need to make sure you told him. But he hangs up, and guess what? He's a piece of shit, doesn't fucking tell him. Withholds the info, instead saying they need to go finish the job.
We need to go get more.
Yeah, more and finish the job and fucking take a Homelander in this. And Huey's like, fuck yeah, so he...
Well, Huey's taken it at least 3 times and Homelander 4 times, so...
Yeah, so from what I counted, I think they've already taken it 3 times. Maybe
Well,
Butcher 4.
Butcher's taking it, because, Butcher took it one more time because when he fought that guy in the parking garage before.
Let us know in the comments.
So, like, they're right on death's door. Like, Butcher's at the upper limit and Huey's at the bottom. So, like, I don't know. Huey's weaker. Maybe he just dies next dose anyway.
Yeah, so we get, like I said, we get that cool animated sequence with Noir. We get a little bit of Homelander not having a whole lot to do with his damaged ego, but we do get the scene with Maeve that he's going to do some fucked up egg fertilization there, which I kind of kept it secret before. I think Homelander inseminates and has a baby with somebody. I don't know in the comics. In the comics, it's either Maeve, and it creates a superhero little baby with laser eyes. And
He already has one of those.
And I know, but in the comics it was different. And spoiler alert, Butcher kills that little baby superhero because it was just fucked up little thing. So I don't know if this is what they're marching towards or what. with the egg fertilization. Then we get the deep girlfriend stuff. Again, too much, too repeated, don't care. And I'm just really not sure they could be juggling all these subplots and storylines, especially when some of them are kind of retreads while we're in the penultimate episode going into the climax. I think the most exciting part of the last bit is going to be Homelander and Soldier Boy. You have to have some kind of satisfying resolution. Whether Soldier Boy lives into the next season, that's fine with me. I just need to know how all this team up between the boys and Soldier Boy versus Homelander and his cracking facade, how is this going to come to a conclusion, and is it going to come to a satisfying conclusion? So we'll know. We'll know next week. We'll have Joe back, and it's going to be hopefully exciting in the instant white hot wild. All right, guys? That's our opinion. Let us know what you thought of this episode and what you think is going to go down in the final episode. I personally think, Noir will confront and fight Soldier Boy, but I do think that there's going to be a new dynamic between Homelander and Soldier Boy. I think they team up.
Yeah.
And then we go into season 4 with that new dynamic.
Oh, you don't think they kill Soldier Boy?
I think it's like, I'm not sure how you kill Soldier Boy in a single episode when he's been so powerful.
Well, now they figured out the special gas that makes him go to sleep.
Aha! One plot line we forgot to mention. True. It's actually Frenchie who notices it's not gas, it's vapor, and it's a special Russian thing that fucks him up. So, yeah, looks like how can Black Noir get his hand on that information, or does he already know that information and then uses it in the next episode? So, hopefully a satisfying conclusion. So, we'll see you back here next week for that. All right, guys? We'll see you on the next Angry Joe Show. Bye, guys.